Welcome back. And as DB said, we will continue the second part. So I will do a quick recap of what we discussed on the first part. So Ellen White is saying, quote number 8, "We are not ready for this great issue to which the enforcement of the Sunday law will bring us." She places directly in the context of the Sunday law time period. And also I take another quotation where she said, "Not only God's people is not ready, but she gave us also some encouragement by saying that God has revealed what is to take place in the last days, so his people may be prepared to stand against the tempest of opposition and wrath." So even though we haven't got the date of this quotation, but based upon the wording of the quotation, we can imagine that she's placed us in the time period of the Sunday law. So at the same time, we are not ready, but at the same time, God prepares us. And we see that God prepares us to external prophetic event. Since the time of the end. And also he prepares us to be restored as his image. And we know that since the beginning of the line, he explains us what is this internal work. And we have seen in quotation number 10 that it scribes in you the hope of glory. And we know that as God's people, we're supposed to be sealed. And we know that at the time period of the Sunday laws, it's a warning. If we take the wording of the Revelation 49:11, it's a warning to not take the mark of the beast. And us as a God church in the movement, we all want to receive the seal of God. And the seal of God is intellectual and spiritual work. So that's why we have to combine the both let's say, not event, but the both works. Why I say both works? Because Daniel told us that it's God who put in place and remove the kings. And the spirit of prophecy, as we just read, said, Christ in you, the hope of glory, is to be transformed at the image of God. And at the Sunday law time period, we know that. So the theme at the remark is the gender equality. So it's gender equality, and we have to get rid of all our bias. Regarding gender equality. But we also learn that I don't think we will get rid of all our bias. But anyway, God is doing this internal work in us by showing us our bias. And what He shows us, we should not be interfering with His work. So for me, it's not a matter to understand only the external event. That is really important because we're supposed to know where we are in the line. But there is another work as important. It will be restored as God's image. And this is what Elder Parmenter explained at ICM. This is how he qualified his work in the movement as a leader. You were there like me. He called himself he compared himself, let's say, to A.J. Wagoner. And he named his work as justification by faith. So that's why when Ellen White said the restoration work is important, is Christ in you, the hope of glory, we have to take into consideration all these study also. Even though we are all excited about the Sunday law message. I really want us to understand that both are running parallels, are together. They are not in competition, they are together. So also another thing that I wanted us to see, that the stone or the prophet in the world, we say newspaper prophet, warn us that the American people made a mistake. It's code number 6. Quote number 6, the American people made the mistake of believing that as long as there were no tanks in our streets, democracy was safe. And the truth is that democracies are more often destroyed by the ballot box than by the weapon. So yesterday, the parliament told us that we're supposed to be living in our present time, and we have to understand what's going on our present time. And on our present time, there are so many layers, but God in His grace is show us all the topic where we should turn our eyes on. Okay, so the other point I wanted us to really get in this first presentation is really the characteristic of Exeter. So the doubling, the prediction. And as I told you in the story of how Elder Terrie developed her message, as you can see, it's a combination of all the messages and structure God taught us. So I show you the date March 29th and May 30 and 31. And between, I told you I thought it was April or May 2024. When she did a study locally, the same study she made in Fiji, she did it locally. So it was in April, but because of the many interaction, she was not able to publish a study. So she recorded on Thursday and Friday, May 30 and 31. Then she published it on her YouTube channel. So we see the same characteristic as for Samuel Snow. The same message has been repeated twice. This message has a time setting in it. The movement heard that message before the event. And I don't think that there is another study as detailed as much using our methodology pointing to that RNC. So for Elder Terrie theories, so our time present, and our present time, sorry. So today we are November 16. So we pass the Sunday law remark. Okay? So another thing she did, and she developed it. She develops it in during the ICM in France. She's she It's the fall of the democracy when it's occur, and in fact, I rephrase it. It's when the dragon voice is heard. Okay, and is it in the early rain or in the latter rain? And I know that people are struggling because Ellen White said, the speaking of the dragon means a promulgation of a law, and this law goes contrary to human conscience and God's principles. But I guess Curtis' study yesterday answered a bit of this question. So, Elder Terry declares that the voice of the dragon is heard during the agitation, and this voice is heard during the later rain. This voice is swelling during the latter rain. This is what she said, if I understood her well. Alors, we would like to just see if we heard the voice of the dragon in the agitation. Um, since 2022, so Donald Trump announced his candidacy to U.S. presidential election. So Donald Trump, basically, since 2022, Donald Trump said he will be a candidate to the presidential election. So the RNC campaign starts from January 14 to June 5, the campaign, okay? In January 14 to June 4. And I asked to myself if what Donald Trump is saying during this time period. So is it saying things that is against the democracy of the Constitution? Is he saying things that he has a characteristic, he says some things that, as his dictator or thing like that? And in fact, I found something he said on the Guardian, but it was before the beginning of the RNC campaign. So it's quote number 12, where he said, Mr. Trump then repeated his assertion, "I love that guy," he said of the Fox News host. He said, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No, no, no, except for the first day. We close the border and we will drill, drill, drill. After that, I won't be a dictator. So I know since 2018, when the Midnight Cry arrived, we compare Donald Trump to Hitler, and we say that Donald Trump is a dictator. So in fact, it's just the continuation of what we believe about him. And it's just saying boldly who he is. Okay, and I found another things, but maybe I'm sure you heard it also. It's in the Guardian, quote number 13. It was about the vote. It's declaration regarding voting. And if you recall the first quotation we read at the beginning, vote is really the foundation of democracy. And this is what he said. You know what? It all work out. Everything will be fine. You know what? It will be fixed. It will be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christian, he said with a, oh, my beautiful Christian. He added, I love you. Get out. You go to get out. Vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote. The constitutional and civil rights attorney Andrew Shedel, for instance, replied to video of Trump's comments circulating on X by written, "This is not subtle Christian nationalism. He's talking about ending our democracy and installing a Christian nation." Okay, and we know that the declaration, you know that this declaration he did is against the Constitution and against the independence, Declaration of Independence. But as I said, it's become bolder and bolder because the declaration said what is in bold. So government are established among men to secure their right, and their just power is derived from the consent of the governed. 14, sorry. And in fact, the people have the right to change their government by the vote. So vote, uh, So vote is really a fundamental right, and when he attacks, even when he attacks the vote, it's so when he attacks the vote, it's against the foundation of USA nation. So now we will touch the very heart for me of Elder Terry presentation, and it's our fourth point in our plan. It's when she explained the fifth equal seventh. Alors remember, the whole study is based upon Act 27, the fifth line. And her focus is on the fall of the institution, so USA. But we know that the fifth line is showing two institutions. USA and SDA. So it will be good that we look also on SDA institution to see how it's shipwrecked. And the shipwrecks show us the fall of the democracy and the rising of of a dictature. Okay, so and we see that this overlapping, the transition, if you prefer, from Panium to Sandelo. Okay, so in Elder Terry's presentation, just to recap what I'm saying, she's showing the transition between the sixth to the seventh kingdom. But also she's the same. It is the same thing: the fall of the democracy and the rising up of the dictatorship. And to prove that point, and to prove that point, that element, she brings us back to the delegation who has been sent to Egypt. So she brings us back to the year 272 BC here. By overlapping the line of Pyrrhus, when we see Cantus Fabius Maximum Gurgis. So she will focus now on the name, the characteristic of this name. And she will focus also on the transition from a republic to a dictatorship, dictature, I don't know how call that, dictatorship. To show her points. And she will add another layer also. 5 equals 7. And to prove 5 equals 7, she will use the two elements, the overlapping and transition. So the question has been asked, not to you, but to me. Is it something new, what she's doing? And we will see that it's not something new. Because remember what Ellen White told us. God has already prepared us. So he's talking the language we should understand. So she says that Quintus, I remind you that since 2022, okay, May 2022, she focused on Quintus and she informed Elder Parmenter that Quintus means fifth. So she had this thought on her mind since then. And she went to the Roman calendar. Why Roman calendar? Because Quintus Fabius Maximus Gurgis is the delegation, it's a Roman delegation. So the context is Rome. So she has to put the name in the context of the Roman Empire. And when she look at this word, cantus, she find that this word means fifth. And this month is, this name is mean also sun, the fifth sun. And this month, this word mean also the fifth month. So for those who didn't check, we will read quotation 15 and 16. To prove our point. So July is the 7th month of the Gregorian or Julian calendar. So its name comes from the Latin Julius in honor of Jules Caesar. And at the end of the last sentence, he say, the quotation say, being the fifth month of the ancient Roman calendar, this month was previously known as Quintilis. Okay, so, and the second sentence of the quotation 16, He said Cantulis, the fifth month. So depending on the country, it gradually becomes the seventh month of the year. When in let's stop there. It gradually becomes the seventh month of the year. So what we see, it's just uh, what she's doing. She's using the calendar, and and also we see that the transition of Cantulis to Yule and July, and as we read it, is something that happened in during the Roman Empire. Was it? So, in fact, what this word quintus is showing us, quintus means the fifth son of the fifth month. Okay, then quintus also is quintulis on the lunar calendar. Then quintulis, it's the fifth month, is become Yule in the solar calendar. Quintulis become Yule in the calendar, solar calendar. Then in Yule become July in the Gregorian calendar. And as we know, July is the seventh month. So what we have with the five equal 7 is not something new that Elder Terrie is doing. In the movement, we use also the different calendar. And I bring you back to the study of 2014 and or 15. Esdras 7:9. When we combine the Karaite calendar with the Gregorian, to understand the correct date of the end of the 2,300 days. Okay, and also we can have another example when we take the 10 days of the 10 days of the 7 months that we become October 27, 1844. Or the first day of the first month became 9/11. Elder, she used the same principle than Elder Tess also, because Elder Tess, she takes the calendar, the 27th of July, Thermidor, in the French Revolution, and she changed this date in November 9. Elder Terrie is doing the same thing. She's also, Elder Tess take a number, 273, and she create a year 273 BC with this number. So Elder Terrie is using the same principle for me. And also this structure 5 equal 7, we see it also in other example. So we see it as a cantilis equal July, so 5 and 7. We see it also in Sardis and Laodicea. Sard has the same characteristic of Laodicea. They've got a name, but they are dead. And Laodicea is dead because it's warm. And we see it also with Trump. 5 equal 7. Okay, so another point, another thing she did, she take another characteristic of Julius Caesar, and it's an elephant. And if we bring all these characteristics in our time present time, I think we can easily place it on Donald Trump. Okay, I didn't read all the quotation, but I think that is something we can easily find on the web. Alors, so now what we are doing with all these information? Because as I told you, for me, 5 equals 7. Ouais. It's really, for me, the heart of our study. For me, it's really what convinced me. So we will try to put on the line. And I said to myself, okay, let's see 5 equals 7 with Trump. So, of course, our present time is the time of the end. Okay, our dispensation start at 90 at time of the end. So the 31st president of USA was George Bush Senior. We know that. The second was Clinton, is 93. But it is also the 42nd president. So the third one is George Bush Jr. And it's the 43 president. And as you can see, there are 8 years. It's a gap, you know, between the 3 and the 4. And what I discovered, maybe you know it, but me, I didn't know it. So even though a president had 2 mandat, is it mandat? 2 terms, okay, so 8 years, okay, it's still the 43 president. That's why you see George Bush Jr. 43, even though he had 8 years of presidency. And Barack Obama, it's the 44th, so the 4 in our line since the time of the end. So the 5th on our line is Donald Trump. The 46th is Joe Biden. It's the 6th. And the 7 and the 47 is Donald Trump. But you will tell me I put 2025, not July 2024. So why this difference? So in fact, in the historians, they didn't take the date, they take another date as us, as student of prophecy. The date you see there, it's the date of the certification. But us, as student of prophecy, you use different dates. Because God wants to show us something. And the example I had, because maybe people will not be agree with me, is the fall of the Ottoman Empire. So if you Google the fall of the Ottoman Empire, you will never find the dates we put us on our line. The historian will use the date of October 1918. So, as student of prophecy, we don't take the same dates. So it's not because the historian they placed Donald Trump in 2025. That erase or make that suppress or deny Elder Terrie's study. Do you understand? Okay, it's not because the historian took the certification date. That means Elder Terrie prediction is false. It's not correct. Because as I just mentioned, for the fall of the Ottoman Empire, we didn't use the historian date, but we used the date given by the inspiration, August 11, 1840. Okay, so Elder Terrie is not doing something new. She's just following the thread. The 5th equals 7, Quintillus, July. She's following the thread, the transition of a democracy to a dictatorship. And she's following the thread of the fall of the institution, the GOP party. So whatever you understand by whatever you understand the Sunday law is, as I said, the Sunday law has different layers. But one of the things you have to follow also is gender equality. And for me, this study is just to confirm what we did in 2016. When we say that Trump is the last president. I think we forgot this pattern of the church, the structure 5 equals 7. Okay, so the thing is, what I understood she's doing, so the thread she's following by choosing July 1824. She's really put the emphasis on the institution, namely the Republican Party, and not the people. So we will read the quote 20. And really the institution I'm really struggling with. I'm really struggling with to understand really what is an institution. To really put word in it. So I Google it, and this is what I found. This is what the normal, the ordinary people think about institution. I'm smiling because I know Elder Parmenter now. He's got another definition of institution. But we haven't got time to discuss about it yet. So I'm presenting you what I found on Google. So note, please. There are two things in disagreement. I'm not in agreement with Elder Parmenter in that study. Okay, don't be disturbed by that. It's normal. Okay, so now ordinary people think that an institution is a political institution. Ordinary people think. Alors, code 20. No, I just add a bit. Ordinary people, it's my bit. Sorry. So political institution. So institution, it's a political things. And if you go down the quotation, so what is in bold? They said the three pillars of the federal state in the order in which they appear in the Constitution: the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. Okay, so that's why I understood, that's how I understood what Elder Terrie is doing by choosing the date of July 18. I think we are all agree on that. Democrat Party will never pass a Sunday law. They will not go against the Constitution. That's why our eyes are fixed on the GOP party, the Republicans, the right wing. So, based upon our definition of what is an institution, while I understand that Elder Terrie is doing, she's following this thread. Okay, so she focused on the fall of the institution. And the institution, it's a political thing. And one of these branch is, we say there are three branches, okay? And the party who will not, go against the Constitution is the Democrat. And we know that in USA we are two major political parties. We have the Republican and we have the Democrat. So if it's not the Democrats, it should be the Republican. Alors, as I said at the beginning, we have fifth line. But we find the Sunday law remark in the line of the 144,000 priests, Levite, Netinin. Okay, so the first remark of the Sunday law is 2014, the line of the priest. Okay, and remember the person who predicted the Sunday law in 2014 at the beginning was not accepted. Remember, in 2012, the person who predicts the Sunday law in 2014 his message was not accepted by the movement. Why? Because of our bias, because of what we are reading in the Bible and in the spirit of prophecy. Okay, we know that this person is Elder Parmenter. So it's quite the same thing for me. So are we repeating, will we repeat the same thing, the same story? So Sunday Law 1 in 2014, line of the priest. We are following the fall, we are following the fall of democracy. We are following the fall of a political party. We are following the fall of the Republican Party. So what we are saying in Sunday law number 1, we are at the beginning of the end of the death of GOP party. Why? Because we see the purge of the moderates. Moderates? What we see next, we're seeing the entrance or the arrival of the Tea Party movement. At the House of Representatives. And I think yesterday, Curtis, you mentioned this point too. No? A little bit. Or maybe when we discuss, I don't know. But anyway. So, 2014, we see these 3 elements. So now, Sunday law number 2, in 2019, the Levite lines. We see that the primaries has been cancelled in order to name Trump. And we see also that Trump controlled totally the Republican parties. Okay? So, because of lack of time, I will not be able to read the quotation. In Sunday law number 3, 2021, so it's a Sunday law for the Netanyim. So we see that the Senate vote to acquit Trump of impeachment. I don't know if you see that. Impeachment to not condemn him. It's and we saw also we have 147 Republican vote to overturn the 2020 election result. This happened in 2021. I don't know if you see. And we see also that the Republican Party implement new voting limits law. Okay, Sunday law number 4. In the line of the 144,000. We see the new party GOP controlled by MAGA. It's a Trumpist now. And this happened in a period of 10 years. And this is what I understood that Elder Terrie is doing. The thread she is followed. She's followed the fall of the political institution. And I guess that's why she chose 18, July 18, 2024, because now the Republican Party, it's a totally new party. So I see that I'm out of time. I've got 5 minutes. Yeah, okay. And what I wanted us to see also is we will read the quotations then that just confirms that now the GOP is really a new party. Alors, is it this one? Okay. Donald Trump has a single-handedly remade the Republican Party in his own image, not only by becoming its undisputed leader, but also by redefining what the grand old party stands for. Code 21. Yeah, the whole thing, yeah. So I will read, don't translate. And the second part of the quotation said, after he took to the stage in 2015, former party Everweight, who did not adhere to the new MAGA ethos, were rejected or come under intense attack from Trump and his supporters. Yes, so yeah. So we don't have time to continue, but if after we have to see what's happened in the RNC convention, okay, and to attach gender equality in it. And one thing I think it's quite interesting, it was part of Donald Trump campaign is a target called the trad wives. Trad wives, code 22. And so I don't know if you heard about it, but it's a movement who is growing and growing. And I find it quite interesting because for two things. We were patriarchy in the movement, and God put us away from that. And uh, and in the fall of the democracy, of in all this context of the Sunday law, we saw movements that rise up that is in opposition. Alors, let me rephrase. So it's interesting because God asks us to put down patriarchy in our life and marriage. And at the same time, we see the opposition or the contrary aspect, the trad rights movement, who claim and act like in the past the patriarchy framework. Okay, and also what I find interesting, to help us to get rid of our patriarchy within our couple or family, marriage. Elder Parmenter start a series of study. Once again, we haven't got time to discuss about it, but I'm not agree with the starting date he gave. In ICM, he said 2021. And when I check my record, it was in August 2020. So during a full year, August 2020 to July 2021, almost every Sabbath, he was addressing the topic of equality within the marriage. So for me, it was quite interesting, the parallel, how God prepares us to see all these things that happen in our present time. And I remember, I can say it. I remember he asked me, do you think that I can continue this study? Equality, marriage, or prophecy? What do you think? And guess what I said? Prophecy, of course. I said, oh, marriage, equality in marriage. But he didn't listen to me for once. Great. Because now we can see. So now I'm able to see the parallel. And I think it's really wonderful the way God leads us. So even though, in fact, to summarize, even though we don't, for the moment, have a consensus on the date for the Sunday law, but let's continue to move forward together to discuss, even though sometimes there are a little bit fight. But let's be confident how God prepares us and leads us. And I'm sure we will get a consensus date. And I will finish like that. So we are in, well, where is the, oh, I can't find it, but in my, let's see. So we are there. Oops. Let's put it in green. We are there, children. And we are there. And we are going to the major remark, close of probation. But we know before the close of probation, we have Concord and Exeter. I don't know if it's encouragement for you, but the Spirit of Prophecy says that the final event will be rapid ones. So let's press together. And do not miss our target, the second advent. That I'm sure that all of us will, we want to have our crown and to be welcomed by our Savior, Jesus. So let's pray. We thank you, Jesus, for all this message you gave us during all these years. We thank you for the friendship. We thank you for this movement. We thank you for the restoration work that you want to realize in us. For this chance that we can become better people. And help us to be firm and to advance until your second coming. And we know that there is a big crisis will happen during this time period. But we don't want to forget how the way you lead us. And we don't want to forget that all heaven is watching us and is ready to help us. In Jesus' name, amen.